I'll kick us off.
Welcome to Southern Fried Baseball, brought to you by College Baseball Central, bringing you 90 feet closer to the greatest show on dirt. Here are your hosts.
Welcome in, college baseball fans. We are back here at the end of the regular season. Hoover is just under 24 hours away. Excited to kick this off and talk some SEC baseball. We brought in our special guest, Gris, our resident Arkansas fan, to talk everything else. We wanted to make this a little mega cast for y'all. We're going to be talking about the 8 games, 8 series. We're going to talk about some awards, and then we're going to break down the SEC tournament for y'all. Nick, how are we doing today? We're excited that the tournament's here, or are we sad that the SEC regular season's over?
Sad the season's over. Obviously, it flew by. It's just crazy once again how fast it goes. And yeah, I'll be leaving here, headed to Hoover in about, I don't know, like 9 hours from now, 8 hours from now, start my drive. So yeah, I'm excited. Should be a fun week. Looks like the weather's going to be nice in Hoover, which is, I mean, fingers crossed, knock on wood. Very rare where there's not some craziness that happens from weather standpoint. But yeah, I mean, it's good. It should be exciting. Hoover. Biggest question mark I would say is how many teams actually have something to play for, because I don't think it's honestly very many.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Gris, you went up to an SEC school this weekend. You got to spend some time up in Lexington, land of the horses, if you will. How was Lexington?
It was great. Baseball, bourbon, and horse racing, capital of the world, I guess. So, yeah, it was fun. Got to interact with Todd Harris, whose son Leighton pitches for Kentucky, and he showed us around, set us up for a tour and everything. So, hit the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and then got to look at Kentucky's facilities. So, great trip all around. I'd go back anytime.
Let's start out there at KPP. The Arkansas Razorbacks take 2 of 3 from Kentucky. That was a gentleman's sweep, if you will. Kentucky brings Jelkin out of the bullpen Thursday night before Arkansas kind of blasts through them the next 2 days. Chris, what did you see from Kentucky? Do you think that was the one win that got them in the tournament and they emptied the clip? Do you think Arkansas wants to prove all those nerds out there wrong that they should be the host? What did you kind of see this weekend?
Probably did enough for Kentucky to get in. Now, they played Arkansas very tight. Even down to the last game where Arkansas jumped on them early. I think it was 10-0 going into the second. This game was 12-12 in the matter of a few innings after that. I mean, it was anything but a coast for Arkansas. Game 2 was close. They won by 5-4. So hats off to Kentucky, man. It's tough going in there and playing. I don't know if it's the turf or what. I mean, Arkansas's had experience playing on turf just a couple weeks ago in Missouri, but I don't know. It was different. It was kind of chilly at night, just not really what they're used to. But they had a challenging time with the Wildcats. I really do think that Kentucky set themselves up now to, even if they lose to Vandy, I think they're in the tournament.
Yeah, it is a very weak bubble. And when I was crunching some numbers, 17-13 with their RPI gets them in 9 times out of 10. There aren't a ton of bid stealers out there. Nick, were you a little bit surprised that they threw Jelkin like they did on Thursday? Or do you think that that's setting them up to go and beat Vandy and kind of get that one last exclamation point to get them into the tournament?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was as much a setup for the SEC tournament as it was. You can tell me and Jones' strategy was just like, no matter what we have to do this weekend, we're getting that 13th win. And I think you have a chance with what we thought. I mean, you don't really think they have a chance on Friday, or I guess this week, Thursday, facing Hunter Dietz. So I think they realized once were they tied or were they up 1 when he came in? I can't remember, but it was
they were up 2, I think, because Zach Stewart cut it to 1.
That's right.
Not.
That's right. So yeah, they were up 2, and I think you take that point and just say, okay, well, let's go get our 1 win here, and then we'll see what else we can do the rest of the weekend. Obviously, showed up against Friday, and then just tried to outslug Saturday. About came back and won, like Matt said, just a insane game. I think I texted him, was like, what is happening right now? Because I thought I literally turned the game off after the first inning to watch all the others. There's so many games on at the same time. But yeah, I think they've done enough. I mean, you look like RPI's 34, 13 and 17 in the SEC. I assume we'll talk about it, but I think they'll with Jelkin they should beat Vandy. I believe, because that ballpark's fit for them as well. So yeah, I think Kentucky's done enough and following a good weekend, even though they lost the series.
Yeah, I should say Kentucky did have the easiest SEC schedule when I went and crunched the numbers, but the variance isn't really that crazy. Like Auburn's making it seem like they played Georgia 8 times and then Texas twice. Like Kentucky's schedule really wasn't that terrible. Thank you. I do like the UCLA hat.
UCLA hat on a SEC podcast.
But I think for me, first off, I mean, Zach Stewart had just an insane weekend too as well. And he's really kind of been, wouldn't you say, an unsung hero as well? Where, I mean, there's so many other guys that steal headlines on this roster, like Cam Kojal, Damian Ruiz, even TJ Pompey, that we almost kind of forget that Zach Stewart's been steady Eddie out there in the outfield since they've set him in there. And then he has an absolute monster weekend. It really kind of sets up nice for Arkansas. I think the RPI is just a little bit too low to get to host, but I think Kentucky's all but in, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Zach Stewart looks the part now. He's really come along. Really, all of the transfers for Arkansas have. Damian Ruiz has he started out hot. I think his OBP was leading the country there for the first few weeks. And then Pompey was swinging, missing a lot. And then now he's come along. For the longest time, it was Kojal and Helfrich. Those were the only two guys that had a WRC plus over 100. Now they've got 7 guys. If they could get this first baseman between Peck, Robinette, if he's healthy, and then Rutenbar, the freshman, if they can get that figured out, I feel like they can compete with anybody in the country. But as for Kentucky, they're, like I said, I think they probably beat Vandy, depending on if it's Fennell versus Jelkin. But I think we saw that matchup earlier in the season, and Kentucky won that one 5-3. So we'll see. But I think Kentucky's in. I think Arkansas is just short. They may be one of the best 2 seeds out there, but I also think it sets up better for them to not host at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're an Arkansas fan, you're dreaming about Kansas or Nebraska or something like that. You get to go up there. Arkansas still got some issues with that Sunday. Wouldn't you say that that's probably their biggest question mark that they can get figured out? But there was kind of a big question mark for them at this time last year, and they had a lot of guys step up down the stretch. Let's move on to the other team that probably had the most to prove this weekend. The Auburn Tigers met up with the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia obviously took the first 2 games. Sunday, things got a little bit weird as Georgia really pulled the plug super early. Georgia wins the SEC at 23-7. Auburn sits at 17-13. They're the RPI darlings. They're the SOS darlings. They had a ton of guys or a ton of midweek teams play up and have career years. They had Nebraska play career years. Do you think Auburn did enough to solidify a top 8 seed despite dropping 2 of 3 to Georgia at home?
I'll start, and I'll say yes. I think just like you said, metrics darlings. This time of year, we know how the committee is. First thing they're going to do is that blind resume stuff where they're just going to look, okay, RPI, DSR, strength of schedule, and yeah, they're loved from that standpoint. You also look at, I mean, their road series that they went and won were very impressive. They finished they finished 3rd in the SEC, and they didn't play, or I guess 6th. Yeah, so
they're 6th.
But they didn't play South Carolina or Mizzou.
They played Missouri.
Oh, I thought they were the one that didn't. Who am I thinking? Maybe Ole Miss.
You're thinking of Ole Miss.
Okay, yeah, and so Auburn's done enough. I mean, RPI is 3. Like, I can't see them. I think losing to the number 4 or 5 team in the country in a very competitive series shouldn't hurt you too much.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree too as well. Auburn was in all of those games. I think it just really shows kind of the class that Georgia is in the SEC. Also, Georgia was playing to win 2 games, whereas Auburn was trying to kind of win that 3rd. Chris, how dangerous do you think this Georgia Bulldogs team is? Do you think that this is the one that breaks the 0-8 streak and gets back to the College World Series?
Yeah, and just because their pitching staff, I feel like it's further along than what it has been in years past. They always seem to have a great offense, but that question mark has now kind of been answered between Volchko, Aoki, Big U.
Big U. Yeah, Big U.
I just think I was about to say vaguely, and that's Kansas's pitcher. But yeah, they've kind of piecemealed it together, which was the biggest question mark I had going into the season was how is this very transfer portal heavy pitching staff going to be able to compete in the SEC? And lo and behold, they competed very well.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that did play one of the easier SEC schedules when I went and looked at it. I should say this. I mean, they dominated just about every single road series that they went on. For as good as we talked about how them being fully field merchants and everything like that, they were arguably better on the road with the series that they won. They've taken care of business the last 3 weeks. I think Georgia has every argument to kind of be the number one team in the country heading into the tournament if things play out the right way in Hoover. For Auburn, I think that for me, they're right on that cut line. I have them as the 8th seed. I think if it was just a 1-to-1 comparison with Texas A&M, it would be Auburn. But I feel like when you get these jumbled up with the SEC ones, Auburn's resume kind of looks very similar to Alabama's, and lots of people are putting Alabama behind A&M. So that's kind of where I have them in the cut line. But again, I think both of these teams are really set up well to win regionals. Georgia, you mentioned just the garrison of pitching arms that they can have. And then Auburn having Jackson Sanders, who's able to kind of start a 4th game should they need it. I think that the sky really is the limit for this Auburn team. We'll breeze through these next 2 series kind of quickly. So stop if y'all want to bring up anything about these. Texas took care of business against Missouri. Really, the only thing of note was that McDevitt didn't pitch that much Thursday, so they're probably setting him up to go all in on Tuesday. And then Florida sweeps LSU. Liam Peterson goes the distance. Ethan Sherwick hit a 500-foot bomb. Sorry, not bong. But again, LSU kind of set up the pitching for them to kind of go into Hoover. Do anything really stand out to you guys about these 2 series?
Not really. I mean, I would say the health of Rigo Riojas is going to be something to talk about. I doubt he throws this week at all. Like I said, this is one of those teams, and we'll get to it once we start talking about the tournament. Texas has nothing to gain this week. It doesn't matter if they win it or if they lose game 1 that they're in. So yeah, I think this is one of those where it's just like, yeah, let's get healthy. Let's make sure everybody just gets the reps and kind of move on next week.
And
Max,
what's the with him?
He's out for the year. He's done. Yeah,
and he's a senior, so that's the end of it.
Yeah, that definitely hurts.
What do y'all make about Schlossnagle burning the red shirt of that kid to get the final out against Missouri?
I didn't even hear about that.
Is there anything? Yeah, so because they had the injury to Cade Bing and because Ruger didn't pitch that much, they had a kid who hadn't thrown a single inning all year who came in and recorded the final out of a 7-12 game. It was a little bit closer than I think Schloss would have liked, and I think the score was kind of a little bit closer as Missouri's kind of making a furious run. Schloss argued that the 5-for-5 is going to pass, so it's really kind of an irrelevant moot point. He said it was fine with the kid that ended up pitching, but I'm curious y'all's thoughts on that.
I didn't know the rule changed about like usage, because I know like in the past it's been like
it hasn't officially changed. It's still because he technically pitched in an SEC game. It burns his red shirt.
Oh, okay. So that's different. So that's the part I didn't know, because I knew that part of you could play a certain amount of games or pitch a certain amount of innings and still red shirt. But yeah, I'm sure that's a thing that they've talked to the kid about probably prior to this weekend or prior to the other weekends. Because yeah, it would be horrible if you're a kid and you just assume like, oh yeah, I'm redshirting this whole year, and then literally last regular season game, it's like, no, well, sorry, you're not going to pitch a single inning until the very last game.
Yeah, and I think that kind of gives us maybe a little bit of a preview for what we're going to see. I think we'll probably see him in the postseason. Yeah, I'd be shocked if Volantis. I'll say this though, Nick. I think they set it up to where Ruger Riojas throws game 1 of the tournament, because then that can set him up to start the first game of the regional, because I think he's going to start that 1-4 matchup for him.
Is he going to be healthy enough? Because, I mean, that's what I was surprised if he throws all week. But, I mean, I don't know. When do they play? Their day is what, Wednesday? Thursday. Yeah, they don't play till Thursday.
They get the double bye.
They're the Friday.
No, they are
the Thursday?
Friday afternoon game. No, they're Friday, yeah, because Thursday's
I was they're the Friday early game.
Yeah, they're the early game Friday. So that is a long break. That is a long time off. Yeah, like I said, they could go a number of different ways. and I think whoever starts anyways doesn't do a full workload. Like I don't think it's a full 6 or 7 innings, no matter who goes. Like I said, it's going to be a stay week. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, it's like I said, Texas is it'll be mostly a bullpen game if I had to guess, or Harrison's probably gonna be fine to go. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But like I said, they got their national seed and just set it up for next week.
Which bodes well for Arkansas.
I love the idea of a Texas bullpen game because with everybody else in the country, it's like, who gives a shit? Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just saying it bodes well for Arkansas
then
if they have a bullpen game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Texas still has, 7 bullpen arms? So
Yeah. I mean, they're a solid pitching staff for sure. Offense kind of
the other one that we won't spend a ton of time talking on, the South Carolina Gamecocks got swept by Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt sits 14-16 in the SEC. I saw that Kane asked this question a little bit earlier, and I'll pose it to y'all. They're 14-16 in the SEC. The RPI is in the 70s.
Yeah,
I see a little bit of a path where if Vandy plays into the semis that they could get in. Do y'all kind of see that path too, or do you think it takes either a championship appearance or stealing an AQ?
I mean, what do you think if the committee was just looking back and saying, okay, Kentucky, Vandy, whoever wins one game in the SEC tournament, that's the team that's in? Like
that'd be screwing over Kentucky bad.
RPI
is 40. RPI is 40.
Their RPIs aren't close.
40 spots. DSR actually likes Vandy a lot more than RPI does. If they're at 40 in the DSR, Kentucky's 29. Yeah, that'd be insane. But yeah,
5-16 and quad 1 wins.
I should say this.
Yeah.
Vandy's terrible on the road. That's kind of one of their biggest Achilles heels is they're terrible away from the Hawk. Like we saw them in Arlington, they sucked. Chris, you saw them in Vegas, they sucked. So that's kind of their one saving grace. I think they had the biggest variance between home and road splits in the SEC. So they can go in and win 3 SEC games. I think that would get them in. The pitching's kind of started to figure it out too. Like remember how we were talking about how awful their TBA is? Their TBAs are now 2-1. Granted, Wyatt Neto's worked himself out of the rotation, so they have 2 TBAs, but the pitching's kind of starting to develop. I don't know. I feel like I'm not ready to kill Vandy just yet, where everybody else has kind of already put the stake in them and wearing garlic necklaces.
I mean, I don't know if it's really developed that much. I mean,
you look locked in the stats.
You're counting on South Carolina and Mizzou over the last 2 weeks. It's kind of who you're talking about that they kind of pitched well against. I mean, they gave up 20 runs to Mizzou in those 3 games. So it's not great. And I'll say a lot of talk this week.
But Texas the week before.
Okay. No.
When they lost.
It
was Alabama the week before.
It was Alabama.
No, they won Saturday.
Yeah. They got swept against Alabama. And then Texas was the week before that. But so it's like a month ago.
They're 5-5 over their last 10.
Yeah.
And you had 2 series with South Carolina and Missouri. If the committee looks at recency at all, which I feel like they should.
Yep.
Vandy if they look at any metric. If they look at RPI, if they look at DSR, if they look at
anything other than offensive statistics, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say this real quick. Yeah, I'll say this real quick about Vandy because all the talk's been about how Vandy loves playing in Hoover and he always does so. Corbin always does so well down there, but it's usually because their pitching staff is so good and so deep that that's how they make runs. This year they're built completely opposite, where it's offense only and hardly any pitching. That doesn't really bode well in Hoover. This is a complete flip flop of the team they normally have. So yeah, I just don't see it happening. Could they get past Kentucky? Absolutely. But then once you're talking about TBA against whoever Florida throws Wednesday, I just don't see that. Don't see more than 1 win here this week.
I don't even.
Yeah, that's the thing for me.
I don't think
I don't even see the one.
It just wouldn't shock me if they do.
I think for me, there's just a little bit too much. And like you said, there's nothing redeeming about them. I think the only thing that they can kind of root for is if everybody on the bubble had like a catastrophic loss, like Michigan gets bounced super early, Jacksonville State goes out. Like that'd be the only. They would have to have like it'd be the equivalent of like in NCAA football when you're like on the bubble and you go and like play the games to intentionally lose so your team can sneak in. That's what Vanderbilt I think is going to have to do if they want to go to the tournament.
They're going to have to go play other games.
Yeah, they're going to have to hate watch.
Yeah, no, they're out.
Moving on to another really, really competitive series. The Ole Miss Rebels went on over to Tuscaloosa and dropped 2 of 3 to Alabama. It was a really, really impressive series, I think, for the Alabama Crimson Tide as they kind of inch ever closer to being a national seed. They sit at 18-12 in the SEC. They have 3 bona fide starting pitchers. They're second in the SEC in ERA. They're starting to get healthy with LeBron and Brady Neal. What did the Alabama Crimson Tide show you this weekend? We'll start with you, Chris.
I thought Ole Miss was going to win that series, so hand up accountability. Mm-hmm. I was wrong. Bama looks good again, 8-2 over their last 10, 15 quad 1 wins. I think they're a host.
Yeah, I do too. I think the thing that's been the most impressive for me is just how they've always been able to kind of win games. Is they don't really have a formula when it comes to lineup. Like this weekend, it was John Lim that played hero. We've talked about Fowler winning them series, Brady Neal winning them series, Peyton Holt won them the one 2 weeks ago. So they get production from everybody that they need to. Do you think that this is the one where they kind of get over that hump and Rob Vaughn gets them out of a regional?
Yeah, I think they've just because of their pitching staff alone, I think they've got the ability to do that.
Nick, for Ole Miss, they sit at 15-15. It feels like they're the absolute longest of long shots to be a host. How dangerous do you think they are as a 2? Because again, Cade Townsend's kind of been struggling the last 2 weeks. He's had back-to-back bad starts, but Taylor Rabe stepped up down the stretch for him. He's pitched really good. They still have Hunter Elliott at the top of that order. They're still a veteran lineup. Do you still like Ole Miss's chances kind of coming out of a regional?
Yeah, that's going to be one of those scary teams for anybody to get. I wouldn't even put hosting out of, I wouldn't say they're fully out of host chance. It depends on what metrics people look at. They're 12th or 15th in the RPI, so they're kind of right on the borderline there. It's just one of those deals that if they are a 2 seed, they'll be one of the kind of higher 2 seeds. We'll talk about whether it's Nebraska. I don't know if they send them all the way out west to say Oregon State. So that'll be interesting. But what you mentioned, the 3 pitchers, and that's kind of the deal with this team is we know the offense is going to score runs. It's for the most part. I know there's times when great pitchers have been able to hold them down, but it's been very rare. So it's when you get that trio of starting pitchers there's few 1 seeds that they're going to travel to that will be as deep starting pitching wise. So I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting time between Ole Miss Rebel. They always seem to play well in the SEC tournament too as well. So it'll be interesting how far they can kind of climb up. I did see Berks Granger had them as still in the potential to host, which I thought was a little bit kind of weird in a long shot. But again, I think that there is kind of still a path. Probably the biggest series in terms of what was proven, the Mississippi State Bulldogs traveled to College Station. Texas A&M took 2 of 3. Mississippi State won Thursday in absolute blowout fashion after a 13-run third inning. Ethan Darden flushes it, comes back on Sunday, pitches just well enough to get him the win. They used Clayton Freshcorn Friday. They used him Saturday too as well. A&M bats did just enough. A&M sits at 18-11. Mississippi State sits at 16-14. I'll pose a question to you, Nick. Do you think that this locked up a College Station Super Regional?
Locked up? No. I don't know about locked up because they're right around there too, where they're that 7, 8, 9, 10 area. So that part will be interesting. I guess if you're not talking tournament wise, I am so it was ugly. But this is one of the things I had my eyes on. You just couldn't take your eyes off this game because it was like probably Matt has seen plenty of these games with his son's travel ball league where it's just runs after runs and literally nobody can get anybody out no matter what they do. It was just chaos. It was tough to watch. 18-11, 9-11, 6-7 wasn't as bad. So
Well, that one was terrible because of all the walks. I think
yeah,
Mississippi State walked 13 guys. That looked like some youth ball games that Chris has probably seen.
Yeah, and you're just talking home run, like tons of home runs from both sides. So yeah, I'm concerned about both of these pitching staffs for sure. I would say more concerned. I don't even know who more concerned. Obviously, more concerned about A&M just because, from a health standpoint, like at least Mississippi State seems to be getting healthy, depending on what they can get like out of McPherson moving forward. But yeah, I mean, both these offenses will hit. We've known that all year. It's so like, and I think it's going to be important. I think it's more important for A&M to be kind of a super host than it is Mississippi State. I think they rely on that ballpark a lot compared to say if they get sent somewhere that's a big ballpark and home runs don't fly out quite as easy.
They're actually a better road team though, Nick. That's what I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that. It's
them and Arkansas are the two where you're like, oh, like that park plays a big factor, and then they're actually been better on the road this year. Granted, 3 of those were to Missouri, but I see what you're kind of saying about them. But what were you going to say, Chris?
Mississippi State's a team that I cannot figure out. Yeah. Like they beat up on all the bad teams in the SEC, but then they lost series that against every good team. I mean, they get swept by
Georgia,
Tennessee. They get swept by Georgia.
At home,
lose 2-3 to Texas. Lose 2-3 to Arkansas. Lose 2-3 to A&M and Auburn. Yeah, it's like
3 of those were rubber matches, though. But they didn't really look that competitive Sunday against Texas. They got run rolled Sunday against Auburn. A&M again. A&M, like on paper, like I saw a tweet from like a Mississippi State fan. It was like, yeah, it's like I think that this is after Friday's game. It was, hey, we might have lost the battle, but we won the war. Like A&M had no pitching whatsoever. Like they re-threw the guy. I think the SID from A&M confirmed it. That's the first time that's ever happened in the SEC where a guy started Thursday and turned around and started on Sunday. Clayton Freshcorn throws 50 pitches, and they bring him in the 8th inning, and he gets the final 6 outs of the game.
Yeah.
Like, Mississippi State, I think, just pissed down their leg this weekend, especially on Sunday. Because, again, A&M kind of, I would say, punted a little bit with the whole Aiden Sims thing where they wanted Aiden Sims to, hey, we need him for the tournament. We're going to let him rest a little bit. For a staff that really had been relying on Aiden Sims numerous times. And Mississippi State just pissed down their leg. It was a 4-2 game in the 5th. What was, I don't know what Mississippi State was doing. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Chris. Unless Ole Miss is sitting in a super regional, I think Mississippi State's going to be bounced super early.
Can Ole Miss beat Missouri and then bounce them? It'll be their 5th time playing each other. Mississippi State has won every game.
Did you know? So they've won 40 of the last 50 against Ole Miss. I couldn't believe it.
Every coach.
That was shocking to hear.
Mike Bianco's been at Ole Miss, 25 years? Every single coach that Mississippi State's had has a winning record. That includes interim coaches. That includes coaches that cheat on their wives and everything in between.
Moving on.
Our final series was a game at the Bricktown Ballpark as the Tennessee Volunteers waded through the rain, the wind, and everything to take 2 of 3 from Oklahoma. They battled back and added on a little bit in that delayed game as they played a little bit of a doubleheader. Oklahoma ultimately took game 3, 12-9. I thought it was kind of interesting that Tennessee played from behind every single game, and in 2 of those 3 games, it wasn't even really that close. Once Tennessee kind of turned it on, this felt like an absolute dream weekend for Josh Elander and a team that's kind of peaking at the right time. Wouldn't you agree, Nick?
I would, and at least offensively. Pitching wise, hasn't been as good the last couple of weeks. But I think that's a little bit of fatigue type of thing setting in. This time of year, we've talked about in a lot of these series where the starting pitching hasn't been fantastic outside of a couple of good showings. But yeah, I mean, it was a weird series. You mentioned the rain, having the second game postponed. Wind was blowing out 16 to 20 miles an hour all 3 games, so it was just kind of chaos. Like some balls, and they were from behind, and Oklahoma and Tennessee took advantage of it too. But yeah, there were some pop-ups that ended up going out, which was good. But yeah, this Tennessee offense has really turned it on. I mean, they're ranked very highly, especially in SEC play only. I want to say they're leading the SEC in homers during SEC play, which was surprising or not what you would have expected, especially like thinking it would be Georgia or A&M. At least that's the last I saw. So, yeah, definitely peaking at the right time. We'll talk about it. This team goes as Landon Mack's arm health goes, because they obviously need him. Can't just rely on Coons, Blanco, and then basically you're talking about Appenzeller and Arvidsson out of the bullpen. So it's big for them to kind of get him back.
I forget what the stat was on their bullpen, but I want to say it was like 13th or 14th, and that includes Arvidsson and Appenzeller. So it's kind of interesting, like how quickly it falls off. Yeah, the appetizer. I kind of agree. I think OU really has kind of been disappointing. Like this was a team 3 weeks ago where we're like, hey, if things kind of fall their way, they could easily be a host. And Florida goes in, beats them around. They go up to Arkansas, get pushed around. And then Tennessee absolutely bullied them this weekend. Like, did y'all see that video of Evan Blanco coming off the mound after he strikes out LaChance?
Yeah, that was after. There was some mouthing back and forth right before that. That kind of led to it.
Shocker! Tennessee was mouthing.
Oh gosh,
I think it was LaChance that started it, by the way.
It was, and that's why Blanco, because Blanco's not. He's like, especially out of the 3 starters that Tennessee has, Blanco's definitely the most reserved when it comes to Coons and Mack. Will definitely tell you about it. But from Oklahoma, it's like you can talk about, I guess, from a standpoint, and I like what that comment kind of said. It's how they started the year to what they are now. But if you looked at it in like everybody's kind of preseason rankings, I believe I had Oklahoma right around that 12 or 13 mark in the SEC, and they finished 10th. So I mean, it's not terrible considering, like, it's not unexpected where they ended up. But yeah, I think it's just how they started the year. To kind of, it really feels like how Tennessee's going up right now. It really feels like Oklahoma's kind of limping into postseason play.
Yeah, and everybody
did they play Texas
not ranking Oklahoma high enough, just because they had a really impressive outing in Arlington, and then they beat somebody else, and people were coming at us for not ranking Oklahoma.
They beat A&M and they beat LSU, which at the time, but LSU was, I think, ranked like top 10. And then they get shellacked at Texas the week after, and they've really kind of never been the same.
Yeah, that was the same weekend where that LSU, like the LSU arms. That's where we saw, like, oh gosh, because it was either right. I think that was right before the Vandy series, so it was just like there were so many pass balls, wild pitches, and everything against Oklahoma. They made them pay, and then it's that win doesn't look the same anymore.
Yeah, we'll talk about it with Oklahoma, about some of these teams where how much they're invested in it. I think Oklahoma is the one that's going to benefit the most from getting like a week off. Like that bullpen has been absolutely taxed, I think, for the past 6 weeks in SEC play. Just with the kind of musical chairs of Cam Johnson, Mercurius, Cord Ranger. Like they have enough bullpen arms, I think, to pitch through a regional. It's just, I mean, a lot of the guys that they were counting on, I mean, they just look tired. Like, I think that the week off is going to benefit them tremendously.
Confirmed Jackson Jelkin for Kentucky, Connor Fennell for Vandy.
Man, I'm so smart. I called that yesterday.
Site has this a 42% chance for Kentucky, 58 for Vandy.
Before we move on into the tournament predictor, we want to thank our friends over at Home Field Apparel. They have a lot of great new stuff coming out. Their Indy 500 collection for Memorial Day is always one of my favorite home fields. I'm rocking some of the Jackie Robinson collection. So use code CBC15 for 15% off your first order and get all of your college essentials in one place. Chris, what's been your favorite home field piece that you've gotten?
Definitely the USC Trojans throwback jersey. Thing is clean. Got the USC emblem right there on the back with a beautiful script, gold and red Trojans across it. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I still have yet to find like a home field thing that I don't like. The hockey jersey, I think, was probably my biggest surprise purchase that I liked more than I find myself wearing that one around the house. Nick, what's been your favorite home field thing?
My favorite one is one I can't buy, just out of personal pride. The Indiana State like hats and jerseys are pretty sick. But obviously, since I played at Evansville, they were literally an hour up the road, kind of our little in-state rival there. So I refuse to buy anything Indiana State related. But that's my favorite of what they put out. And then obviously, the jerseys. Still trying to figure out which one I want to get this year. I like the Arizona State one a lot, even though their fans hate me right now. I think that's probably my favorite one.
It was
by the way, I'm
It was Mother's Day and it was 100, and I just got lit up. But I stand by what I said.
That's okay. I'm sure that you'll get lots of opportunities to tweet about how hot it is and nobody being there, with the Big 12 tournament being in a surprise.
Yeah, that would have been a better angle to go at, too. Giving up the AC at Globe Life for let's go play and surprise Arizona.
I know this is an SEC show, but that tournament needs to go back to Oklahoma City. Like, it should be at Chickasaw, where OU and Tennessee played this past weekend. Like, it's sacrilegious, I think, that it wasn't there. Chris, you want to pull up the bracket for us as we go into our pick'ems?
Yep. So this is new to the site, collegebaseballinsiders.com. We've got other tournaments here up at the top you can select, but obviously we're going to talk about the SEC. Jake, why don't you shock us here and tell us which way you're going in Missouri, Ole Miss?
We did get, I think, confirmed starters for this one too, didn't we? It's Missouri at Ole Miss at 9:30 a.m. from the Hoover Met. I revealed it last night on Zach's and David's show, but I'm going with the Missouri Tigers. I think Ole Miss is going to sleepwalk through this. They are going probably, I think, with McDevitt versus Ole Miss is going with their kind of midweek guy. It has all the, I guess, recipe for an upset sleep through where you blink and it's 5-2 at 11:30 in Ole Miss.
So I'm going to assume you're going to go Missouri over Mississippi State then too. Just defy all logic here.
Who are y'all seeing in this one? Is it Ole Miss?
For Florida, Vandy is dead. I still think they get Kentucky, but yeah, I don't know if anybody's beaten Florida. I actually like Florida to go all the way.
Who do you like in Missouri and Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Yeah, this is a non-overthink it for me. Especially you talk about sleepwalking. We just talked about like on that week breakdown. Ole Miss is on that borderline to host. I don't think they get in a spot where they're complacent here. I think they know they have to get this game. If they lose to Mizzou, then yeah, they definitely have no shot.
2 out of 3, Ole Miss advances. Sorry, Jake.
Oh, you're good. Let's move on to game 2, the Kentucky Wildcats versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. It is 13 versus 12, 1 p.m. at the Hoover Met. I am going with the Kentucky Wildcats to get that last little win there. Fennell versus Jelkin.
Yeah, I'm going against the site here. I know our site loves the Vandy offense. It's loved Vandy all year. Because I know me and Matt and Q talked about this a lot towards the beginning of the year when Vandy was playing some of those non-conference games, and it had them like blowing out everybody on our site, and it was because the offense was so good. But I think you're basically getting Jelkin off of a full weekend rest. I think he threw 36 pitches, I believe, which is compared to how he usually they usually let him go 110, 117 pitches some start. So I think he should be pretty fresh. I think Kentucky knows. Obviously, both these teams, I think, need to win. I think Kentucky's in no matter what. But yeah, just you kind of make sure of it by winning game 1.
Basically, by half a run, implied probability of minus 136 plus 136.
I did just find it, by the way. It is Will Libbert for Ole Miss who is pitching, if you want to add that to the site.
Will do.
So all of us are going with the Kentucky Wildcats.
Congrats, Vandy.
Yeah, right. Shocker, though. 90% chance Florida wins. And that's not even putting in starting pitchers. But I think Kentucky probably knows. Just get one, and y'all are for sure in.
This would be the end of Vanderbilt's streak and a lot of tough questions I think are going to be asked around Vandy's staffers should they miss the tournament. But I guess Vandy will kind of cross that bridge since they have so much free time. The South Carolina Gamecocks will play the Tennessee Volunteers at 4:30. I'm really curious what the pitching kind of looks like for this one.
Appenzeller.
Yeah, I guess Appenzeller for Tennessee. I did see that. South Carolina, would it be?
I haven't seen
them. Regardless, I think it's Appenzeller in Tennessee. I think South Carolina's been checked out for a while. Wouldn't you kind of agree?
Yeah, I really think so.
Let's move on as we kind of breeze through these. The LSU Tigers will face the Oklahoma Sooners at 8 p.m. from the Hoover Met. I believe that this will probably be William Schmidt versus LJ Mercurius because he didn't really pitch that much this weekend. Mm-hmm. I actually am going with the LSU Tigers here. I think they pull the upset.
Chris, what are you doing?
I think LSU is dead.
I would close. I don't know what I'm going to do on this one. Because I think this just seems like it's going to be that late night, weird, unexpected shootout. It's going to we know these games is probably something's going to happen. It won't start till 10:30 at night. Gavin Jones. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, it'll be Gavin Guidry. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But you know what? I'm actually going. I think LSU wins this. I just think, I don't know. I think Jay gets him up for one more game, and then Auburn will probably crush him.
Jay's been building, I think, towards this tournament for the past 2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
he's treated it.
See ya.
Yeah, and again, he's known for many a weeks that this is going to be what it takes to get him into the tournament. Gris, are you riding the Mike the Tiger, or are you hopping on the Sooner schooner?
No, I think the Sooners win.
Sooners. So it's 2-1 LSU. Let's move on to that second round matchup. The Mississippi State Bulldogs will host another battle of the Palmetto State as the Ole Miss Rebels will look to go 1-4 against Mississippi State. Mississippi State's been licking its wounds the past 2 weekends. Ole Miss, again, they beat A&M, but still kind of licking their wounds a little bit. I'm going to go with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I don't know why, but for some reason Mike Bianco just cannot figure it out against Mississippi State, and it gets heightened in Hoover. Give me the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'm going Mississippi State too.
Yeah, same. That's what I mentioned it earlier in the show. Yeah, Ole Miss is 10-40 against Mississippi State in the last 50 games. I think that trend continues. They always say it's hard to beat teams hard to beat a team 4 times. We don't know if it's hard to beat a team 5 times because it doesn't really happen. We're gonna find out.
Let's move on to
Florida.
I'm going Florida.
Yeah,
that'll be either. Here's the crazy part is I think even if they threw their midweek guy here and then had King, Peterson, and Sandiford for the next 3 games, I think Florida would still win.
Yeah. Kentucky's gonna be in that same spot where just kind of like this week, they know they need to get 1, and then I think it's move on to next week.
What if they threw Caden McDonald there?
That's what there has been rumored. There's a source I heard that said Caden McDonald might start this game 1 against Kentucky or against whoever moves forward, just to keep everybody kind of on the same rest and set up for next week. Because Florida's also in that weird spot. They're clearly a host. Kind of only question is top 8 or not. So
they feel a little bit too far behind, though.
Maybe
they feel like in a 12 to 14 range more than a 10 to 12.
Maybe, but yeah, metrics love them. It's just one of those things because they've won the games they needed to make their metrics look good. So it's just one of those it's one of those deals where for them beating Bama would be way more important since Bama's number 3 in RPI than it is beating Kentucky because beating Kentucky won't really improve their stock very much. So if they lose it, fine. If they win it, it's goal to beat Bama and move up.
So it is unanimous for us with the Florida Gators. Tennessee versus Arkansas in the 10-7 matchup. Gris, we'll start with you because you've kind of been anti-Arkansas the past few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, for the pick'em contest.
Yeah, not actually.
Yeah. I still think this team is they're I don't know if I'm ready to say they're an Omaha team, but I think they are going to be able to compete in regional and then super we'll see who it's matched up against. But, I mean, I like their chances against Tennessee.
Who do you think they'd throw here? Because I feel like they know they can get one win in this weekend, and then everything else is going to kind of be pieced together. You think this is the Dietz when they use Dietz?
Yeah.
He pitched Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be too crazy. And again, from a rest standpoint, too, he'd be fine rest-wise to pitch Friday in a 3-2 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go Arkansas here, too, as well. Is that kind of what you're seeing, Nick?
Yeah, it is. I think, because it's going to be Dietz, and I'm not sure what Tennessee does from a pitching standpoint. I assume this will be probably Coons, unless they decide to go Arvidsson and just kind of give their starters a weekend off. Could be one of those interesting things. So, yeah, I'll go Arkansas here. Tennessee is another one of those teams. We'll kind of talk about it moving forward because it's sort of the same thing with a lot of these teams that got the double bye, where it's no matter what they do this week, they're a 2 seed. Like even if they lose game one, or I even think if they win the whole thing, okay, maybe they'd be
I was going to
around
say,
15,
I think if they
16,
win the whole thing, they would have an argument.
But they don't have the bullpens to go win 5 games this week.
Yeah, but that's the thing is when you get at the end of the road, you don't really know what the other team's bullpen's going to be, and the way Tennessee's been swinging it, and I think
I do with the teams in front of them though, considering they'd have to get through Texas and probably Auburn, who will have way better arms than Tennessee.
It'll be really interesting too, because I think the Met actually plays towards Tennessee. Like, despite it being all these big power numbers, like they have a lot of guys that are really gap to gap.
Yeah.
Next up, the Auburn Tigers will face the LSU Tigers. I'm going to guess the metrics love Auburn in this one, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 88% win probability.
This would probably be Kason Evans. I know on Zach's show yesterday, I predicted LSU to beat Auburn. I slept on it. I think Auburn takes this one. And I would say like a really kind of ugly 4-2, 5-3 pitchers duel-esque type of game. I think that this will be Sanders, by the way, for Auburn.
I think the boldest take there is saying LSU is going to be a pitcher's duel. But yeah, I thought about the LSU Oklahoma was kind of like the thinking game where it could go either way. Yeah, I think this is the end of the road for LSU, end of the season. Let's just get Jay in the portal.
Yeah, I think Jay's already been in the portal, by the way. He's been in the portal for weeks. Gris, you riding with? I see you already clicked in Auburn. Are you going with Auburn too?
Yeah. Auburn all the way.
Let's go back up to the top. The Mississippi State Bulldogs will face the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia. It'll be interesting because I said last night on Zach's show that how much Georgia's going to want to be there. I actually think since Georgia's won it for so long that they'll want to kind of get them on normal rest. They'll probably pitch who there's going to pitch opening game and treat this kind of like a regional light. I actually think Georgia beats Mississippi State in this one. I think that the pitching, Georgia's probably going to throw their ace while Mississippi State's going to piece it. I think Tomas will probably go Ole Miss. I don't think he goes against Georgia.
Yeah, I think they'll go. I actually think McPherson goes against Georgia because I think they'll want to get him an outing just to kind of get him ramped back up. I still don't think he goes like too deep or anything like that.
He did 45 pitches. I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Be
20 the week before.
Yeah, probably 50 or 60. Yeah. So I think they'll want to get him a start. So I do think even if they have to move up, because I don't know if they're expecting to beat Georgia, and like they can't wait until like okay, we'll just play him Saturday or pitch him Saturday. So yeah, I think Georgia wins it, and yeah, solidifies. They should be a top 8 host anyways. I hate when people are even having arguments about it because of their RPI. Like,
did you see that jackass? I forget his page, but he had them as like a 2 seed like a couple weeks ago.
Oh gosh,
And
no, I definitely didn't see that.
Georgia could lose 10-0 to Mississippi State. National
since 2016, the winner of the SEC has never finished below 4th in the country in terms of rankings. I don't think Texas should jump them at all. I think that they should be the top ranked SEC team. I'd even put them over Georgia Tech, which I know makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
Yeah, just
you make a lot of people uncomfortable, anyways, Jake.
Yeah, Georgia Tech isn't going to change my opinion. Let's move on. The Alabama Crimson Tide will face the Florida Gators. Yeah, it's ridiculous what the Georgia slander is. Which, again, Kirby always got a lot of crap for talking about bulletin board material, and then everyone would be like, "You won the SEC. Like, what are you talking about?" I think West has some pretty good bulletin board material. But let's move on. The Florida Gators will face Alabama. This will probably be Liam Peterson / Aiden King versus Zane Adams here.
Probably Tyler Fay.
You think it'll be Tyler? You don't think Tyler Fay?
Yeah, I think they'll keep it in order.
In order?
Yeah.
Fay? I think Peterson against Fay. I still like Peterson. Give me Florida here.
Yeah, I lean Florida as well. Nick?
I lean Florida here, but this is going to be an interesting one to see. I don't know. I feel weird because I keep doubting Bama and they just keep winning. So this is one of those Matt had a team where he said he couldn't figure out Mississippi State. That's Bama for me. They're the team that I can't figure out this year. But yeah, I think give me Sully in postseason. Give Florida.
I think this is the one where the winner of this one I think will win the whole thing. Little preview, if you will.
They did sweep Florida in the regular season.
Yeah.
They also no-hit Florida.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. So he's due for a bad one.
Really going through it.
I think that was right when Nick and I were like, "Hey, we should maybe need to start asking tough questions about Tyler Fay."
Yeah, about the rotation.
And then sure enough, he's kind of been going down. He's kind of been struggling the past few weeks, so maybe a little.
All right, so we're going Florida.
Yeah.
Yes. Next up, Arkansas versus Texas. I actually think it's going to be Arkansas. I don't think Texas gives half of a shit about this game. I think that they'd much rather get healthy with Mendoza, Rodriguez, Pendergrass, and take their ball and go home, if you will.
Yeah. I agree with you to a standpoint. I think Texas still wins this one. I think this is the only one they win this week, just because of they're still going to have the pitching advantage. I don't doubt it's Volantis, doubt it's Fruga Riojas, but even if it's Harrison, we talked about all the bullpen arms. And even they're you match up the two bullpens with them in Arkansas outside of McElwain, it's not real close. So yeah, I think give me Texas here, but I think Arkansas moves forward because of you two.
Our final one, the Auburn Tigers versus the Texas A&M Aggies. It's an interesting one for me because Auburn took 2 of 3 from Texas A&M, and it feels like both of them are neck and neck. But I don't think A&M really gives a shit about this in any sense of the word. Like, Kellner's injured, Partita's injured, Hacopian's injured, Sims is injured. I think I said this last night. If A&M could do a midweek forfeit and just not even play, I think that they would do that. Give me Auburn.
Yeah, I also say Auburn.
Yeah, 1,000% agree. A&M is they are in absolute get healthy mode. They had to throw, their pitchers, you look, today I had to come out of the bullpen this week. Fresh Corn threw twice. This is a complete, I don't even know they're going to punt this game for sure. Could their offense show up and could that happen? Absolutely. But it would have to be a shootout.
They always do this weird thing though, where they get these Herculean performances out of arms that have been just bad arms all year. I forget who it was. I think it was who was their Sunday guy last year who was kind of up and down. He shoved. In 23, they had 2 pitchers win awards because they both threw back-to-back complete game shutouts. So weird things happen with A&M and Hoover in terms of their pitching. But again, I actually think that this is going to be a low-scoring game. It wouldn't surprise me if they bench Hacopian just to get him back to 100%. Yeah, I saw that where he said they're going to go down. I think he said Tuesday or Wednesday. I think that they're going to experience the culture. And I said this yesterday, but it feels like Texas is going to treat this like they're going to the beach for a baseball tournament. They're going to hang out by the pool. They're going to get nice and tan. They don't really get, if they lose baseball, they lose baseball. They're still at the beach.
Andrew, do I have a surprise for you? Go to collegebaseballinsiders.com, click on postseason. It is live for the public to do. Now you can't submit picks because it's gonna have a live bracket when teams win. It'll reshuffle the probabilities and everything, but you can play around with it, screenshot it, whatever.
What conferences do we have, Chris?
We have ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Conference USA, Mountain West, SEC, Sun Belt, and West Coast. Basically the ones that DraftKings has odds for.
Interesting. So no NEC or MAAC?
No.
But how can we gamble on Ryder versus Fairleigh Dickinson?
You talk to DraftKings about that because they don't have odds.
Yeah, or Brent Swartzby, apparently. I want to feel like I'm a part of Marist
Drew,
baseball.
if you're not seeing it, do a hard refresh. It's there. It's there. Refresh your browser.
The semifinals.
All right, let's pick this because we're closing in on 1 hour, which is twice as long as you said we were going to hold people hostage here, Jake.
Yes.
No, it's always an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Florida versus Georgia. This is one where Florida went and took 2 of 3 up at Foley. I think that they get it done against Georgia again and play for the championship.
Different for me. I'm going with Georgia here. I think they're going to try to get whether. I think they punt the third game because I think Georgia. We talked about it. Their pitching staff's been good. Volchko will probably go against Mississippi State, followed up by either Aoki or Matt Scott, and then they'll want to get Vigu a good outing, which I think will come against Florida here, and whoever doesn't pitch in relief, whether it's Matt Scott or Aoki, gives them that advantage. I think Georgia wins this one, and usually this time in Hoover, scoring matters. So give me a more consistent offense with Georgia.
Georgia's never won the SEC tournament, have they?
Did they not win in 08? I thought they did.
under Wes Johnson.
Oh, no. They have not. Definitely not under Wes.
I was going to say, I think they won it
how
when they
much
used to do.
he's going to care to try to win it. Because it's really no sweat off their back to play 3 games. Like that, they would do that normally. So
yeah,
I would split.
I don't know. I go Georgia here.
Ooh, interesting. Georgia has won it 30 times. Oh wait, no, that's appearances.
Let's say big.
It's like right. No, Georgia has never won the SEC tournament. Neither has Kentucky, nor Missouri, or Oklahoma, or Texas. Texas actually never won a game in the SEC tournament. Fun fact.
Well,
they're 0-1.
It should may continue. All right, Arkansas, Auburn. Who you got?
Should Auburn make this? I think it's Auburn. Arkansas is going to be completely out of pitching at this point, while Auburn's going to be able to throw Marciano.
Yeah, I had Auburn versus Texas here. I think Auburn, whether it's Texas or Arkansas or Tennessee, I think Auburn wins it. Mention the pitching staff, whether they go, Marciano here, whether it's they move Alvarez back, whatever they do, it should still be. Well, I guess no, because this will be their 3rd game. So even Petrovic still gives them a huge advantage. So yeah, give me Auburn.
Yeah, they have pitching for days.
We just saw this past weekend.
Yeah.
So Georgia, I'd go Georgia in this situation.
Yeah, I think they do care. I think they care to win it.
I kind of now I feel like an idiot because I didn't realize that Georgia had never won it. So I have a feeling they're going to actually gun for it now that they've won it.
And I think it's sort of and I think they can, because I keep hearing all this talk of how like they still might not be the highest ranked SEC host or anything. I think they'll be out to prove like, hey, we won the regular season by 3.5 games. Let's go win the tournament too. This would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. As always, again, the storylines, whether the teams want to be there or not, the storylines always play up. Guys always rise to the occasion. It's always a fun week, despite how much teams are invested. Nick and I are going to have some special stuff this week for SEC with Nick being at Hoover. So be on the lookout for Nick having all post-game stuff. Doug Kyle, our own Doug Kyle, will be there too as well. So we're going to have lots of boots on the ground. I will not be there. Chris, I think you're not going to be there either, right? Or are you coming down?
Nope, still have yet to make it to Hoover. And now that they do the single elimination, I don't know if I ever will.
Gris only cares about his LSU Tigers, it seems like. So when they are in a down year, he is in a down year.
Nah, I have them going Arkansas at least.
But that is all that we have time for. Be on the lookout, though, for all of our content coming out this week. Nick and I will probably go live some point to talk about Hoover. We're still kind of finalizing some of that stuff. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you back here next week as we do a tournament breakdown.